and there's no wind, it's raining, and there are no waves, obviously 90% of the ideas go out the window. And I had 3 lenses with me, and 2 of them broke on the first day. Because you can miss an opportunity if you're focusing too much on something.
Very difficult to use the long lens in a zodiac.
The older I got, the wider lens I'd use. Probably one of the best days I've had in a helicopter in many, many years.
Hello, here we have fantastic.
Hi, Andrea.
Good morning, good afternoon, I don't know what time it is.
Your first impression of the city?
Look, I just walked around 20 minutes, it's beautiful. I love, coming from Australia, it's really nice to see some old buildings.
Yeah.
Because in Australia everything's new, everything's young, and here there's history. And I come from Italy myself, so I'm used to seeing this kind of stuff. And I haven't been to Europe in 7 years, so it's refreshing to see some art.
Uh-huh. First of all, we have to thank you because you have an incredible busy agenda. So it's for us a pleasure and a honor to have you here to visit us in Cartagena. Thank you very much, Andrea.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
I have seen your pictures. I must say that you are a master of light. It's true. Your pictures have a lot of texture also. I think your Italian roots, you are somehow marked by a very pictorial style, no, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's I don't know. I've been lucky since a young age to have been exposed to a lot of art. And so when I was a kid, I lived in New York, and my mother would always take me to museums. So I'm used to seeing Picasso, Van Gogh, and all those people. Like it's normal. and then photography became part of my life, and obviously the two must have somehow combined.
Yeah.
And even today in Australia, sporting photography is a very high level. So there's every time you look somewhere, there's something amazing to see, and obviously unconsciously. Sometimes I'm able to combine what I know, and it comes out.
That's my definition of your art, but how would you define you as a photographer? Are you the kind of photographers who have a picture in mind and goes for it?
No.
Or
No. When it comes to sports, yes, I might have some ideas of something that I'd like to do, but since I'd say 90% of what I shoot are events, you can't plan anything. So, you can have all the ideas in the world. If you show up and there's no wind, it's raining, and there are no waves, obviously 90% of the ideas go out the window. So you have to think of something else. So yes, you have some ideas in mind, but you always have to keep your eyes open because you can miss an opportunity if you're focusing too much on something.
Mm-hmm. You have been, I think, the 5th times in the Sydney Hobart?
25 times.
25 times?
I've photographed the Sydney to Hobart 25 times.
Wow.
25 years.
One of the widest races in the world. The last years has been crazy.
The last Sydney to Hobart was, like any race, everybody's looking at the weather forecast because that is an event where you need the right conditions, and you don't always have them. The start, from what I remember, was a good start, nothing wild. But then in the afternoon, the wind picked up. The more time went by, the wind picked up, and we had perfect conditions on Boxing Day in the afternoon. I was in the helicopter for sunset, and we had sun, wind, and waves, which is the trifecta for photographers. Maybe the sailors didn't enjoy it as much as we did, but it was fantastic. So that's, I could say, probably one of the best days I've had in a helicopter in many, many years.
Mm-hmm. Great. Which is the event you will prefer? Sailing race, a surfing contest, or...
It depends what you can do, because sailing has so much to offer, but you have to be able to follow the boats. Because Sydney to Hobart, for example, the boats will leave the harbor and in 20 minutes everybody's out. So in 20 minutes, the first years when I was shooting the race from a boat, 20 minutes later we were coming back. And that's the end of the day. So there's a big build-up for such little time, and it's a lot of pressure because you do have to get the pictures. So if you can follow the boats, the Sydney to Hobart always delivers a wide variety of landscapes and sailing conditions. Otherwise, surf, lifesaving, Ironman, those are beautiful events because you're on a beach and everything's happening in front of you. Again, you have to have the right conditions.
You do a lot of portraits also.
Yep.
That's very different technique. The people in front of the photographer is more able to do whatever the photographer wants. I mean,
I don't talk very much when I'm shooting. Or maybe I do talk. It just depends who's in front of me. Like I've done portraits in less than 1 minute, and I've done portraits that have taken me 5 hours.
yeah.
Because if the person has time, and if they're talking, I like to put the camera down and just hear their story, and that's what interests me. Is like when you can hear the story, then I can get more of a feel. And I remember one person I photographed, and while we were talking, she just did something like body language, and I said, "Don't move," and she just bang and got it, and I was there. And I think that day, I think we took 12 or 13 pictures in 5 hours. And when she saw it, she's like, "That's me." Yeah.
Wow.
When that happens, it's amazing. There's another, I don't shoot celebrities because I haven't had many opportunities to, but there was one TV presenter that in Australia, she's quite well known. And we had lunch together. And while we're having lunch, obviously I'm looking at her, and I've seen her on TV a lot, but I've seen the TV person, not the real person. And I had an idea in mind, and we're just walking in the streets, and I see a wall. I said, "Stop here. Let me take a picture and see if this works." I took one shot, and while I took the picture, I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I nailed it." I looked at the back of the camera, and it was exactly perfect. And I was very close to saying, "We're done." But then I said, "Oh, Andrea," could sound a little bit arrogant, "maybe take more pictures." So I told her, I said, "Okay, cool, let's take this picture. This looks really nice." And I started shooting, and she started putting on her TV face. Okay? And then I went home, and I sent her the email, because I let everybody choose their picture. And I just said, "Look, I don't know you, but that picture's you. The other pictures are the TV you." And then she sent a very long email. "Oh my God, you captured me like exactly the way it is." And that for me was amazing. Like, so, and it made me think, that's what I want. Like I want when people let down their guard. I want them when they're vulnerable, because that's where the real personality comes out.
And somehow, that's the heritage of those masters of the painting that made those portraits incredible, no? That sometimes go farther from the reality.
There's a very famous picture of Marilyn Monroe shot by Richard Avedon.
Ah, yeah.
Where she's just sitting and she's looking down and she's absent.
Yeah.
And Avedon in an interview just says, "We were shooting all day, and then we were putting the lights away, and I saw that she was thinking about something else." And he says, "I picked up the camera and I took one step close to her, and she didn't say no. I took another step close to her, click." And that's the picture that he kept, because she was thinking about something else. She wasn't the cinema star that we know. And there is something very powerful in that picture. Yeah.
So you love to do portraits.
I love portraits.
Yeah.
But all my personal projects are portrait related. Yeah. So sailing and Ironman, surf lifesaving, jet skis and all that, that's work. Love it. It's fantastic. But my personal work, I'm always doing something related to portraits.
You master many aspects of the technique, I would say. I love the way you put suddenly some colors.
I love black and white, so it's a bit of a contradiction. But yes, when there is color, you have to use it, because that's what gives you the emotion, I think. I mean, black and white gives you emotion too, but we see in color, so it's more natural for us. And I love color. I'm known, I mean, maybe not today, but I'm known for wearing colorful clothes. Like I don't own, besides this jumper, I don't own any black clothing. And my friends know it. If I show up with pink pants, they're like, "That's Andrea." So for me, color is very important. And, you know, especially when it comes to sailing and surf lifesaving, there's the ocean, there's the spinnakers, there's the clouds. Like there is color everywhere. I can't, the thing I hate the most is white spinnakers. It's like, oh my God. It's, if I was to create a regatta, it would be forbidden to have a white spinnaker. Go back to the 80s when we had colorful spinnakers, and you have to have at least
Those
3 or 4.
those orange.
Yeah, at least 5 colors on one spinnaker. Like that would be my, that'd be perfect. The only rule, you can do what you want, but it has to be a colorful spinnaker.
It seems, watching your work, that you move a lot, that you are always from one side to the other, or...
Yes, because I want variety. And if I, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but if I come home and I get bored looking at my pictures when I'm editing them, then I think the client's going to get bored. And obviously you can't have that. So I'm the first one to always try and do something more, try and do something different, because otherwise it's the same picture again and again and again. The beauty about working with water is that the water will always be different. Like a boat can go through a wave, the water's going to react different every single time, so that helps. But no, there has to be variety. Otherwise, it's always the same thing. And I remember when I started my career doing yachting photography, I've always loved shooting with long lenses, and it was always long lens. I want the action. I want the boat going through the wave. And then the older I got, not because I can't lift a long lens anymore, but the older I got, the wider lens I'd use. And in Australia, there were a lot of very good photographers who have won the World Press Award many times in sports. And they would come out on the boat with me sometimes to shoot events. I'd see them shoot with wide angle lenses while I was shooting with a 400mm lens or 500. And I'd always look at them as like, what are you doing? And then I'd put my camera down and very discreetly pull up a wide angle just to look, because I was trying to learn and saying, you guys win the awards, I'm not. What are you seeing? And sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, that's nice. Or sometimes I'll be like, nah, this is not working.
But it's very difficult to use the long lens in a Zodiac or at the sea, no?
I'm used to it. I have my sea legs, and it's let's say my chiropractor has been very happy because they're heavy lenses. So at the end of the day, it's a long day, but I like the way it looks, and then I'm used to it. But yes, a lot of people are like, how do you do this? Like, I can't hold still, or I'm photographing half of the sky, and I'm like, I don't know. It's used to it. So just laughing, if somebody would ask me what other job would I do, I think I'd be a very good sniper, because I can aim and I can keep focus on what I need to focus while I'm moving around.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So if I'm sitting on the roof of somewhere not moving, I think
you could be very
it's not my personality, but it's a good. It's something that I could do. I remember once I did a sailing event, and I had 3 lenses with me, and 2 of them broke on the first day.
Wow.
And I had my 16 to 35 and my 500 for the whole week. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember calling a friend. I was away. I wasn't home. I remember calling a friend saying, can you send me, just pack it up and send it to me? And I said, no, I can't because I need it. But he told me, but think, because you have the telephoto lens to get the action, and you have the wide angle to get an intimate shot. And I did the whole week with those 2 lenses, and the client never found out. And it was hard. Like, I really, thank God it was digital, but I was shooting a lot more. But it worked, and it was great. I think for me, learning curve, it was really good, because I was obliged to think outside the box and to try and do something different.
Yeah, I think sometimes we have so many choices. Too many. Yeah. That the choices we made are constraining our work. You know, if you only take one lens or 2. You must move, you must think.
Cartier-Bresson, all those people, they had 2 lenses. Yeah. The zoom with their legs, like you take 2 steps forward. Yeah, and that's right. I remember one of the first years that I was in Sydney, I was shooting an ocean swim. And I was shooting, I think, with a 70-200. And then all of a sudden, I saw a person in the crowd of swimmers dressed up with his camera. And the first reaction was like, get out of the way, you're ruining the picture. Yeah. But then I was looking at that person through the lens, and they were getting really close, and they got some really nice expressions. And I was like, what is he doing? Because I didn't photograph that way. This was many years ago. I didn't photograph that way. So the next ocean swim, I went with my wide angle. And I remember walking away and not having one good picture. And I was about to say, that is the stupidest thing I've seen. What is he doing? Wrong. But then I went home, I'm like, his picture's on the paper, mine aren't. So I went back and tried again and again and again, and eventually you learn. It's pretty
hard. You are always learning.
I didn't use lights until probably 4 years ago. Never used a flash in my life.
You always use
natural light, which is great because you have to learn how to use natural light. And it has happened to me twice that my lights didn't work, and I had to take a picture. So you have to see the light and understand how to use it and still get the shot. But then I started using flashes, and now I'd say I can't live without it. So because it helps and you use it to your advantage. Yeah. But you have to keep it simple.
Andrea, to end with this talk, do you also care about where you are traveling? You have a project in Pakistan helping children, I think.
I started a charity in 2013. No, 2011. 2011. Called My First School, and the goal is to improve schooling conditions in a valley in northern Pakistan. And I went to Pakistan in 2008 for the first time to do a project on horse polo up in the mountains. And that's where I saw the country. And I remember the first time I went, I was a bit worried because unfortunately you only hear bad things in the media. So I was a bit like, I'd say the hardest thing was to tell my parents that I was going there because that didn't go down very well. But then once I got there, it was the exact opposite. Like everybody's still today so friendly, so welcoming. And then I happened to see a school, and every time I traveled, I'd always do something, buy notebooks, pens, pencils, whatever the kids need, small things. And the year before my daughter was born, I had the idea to do something a little bit bigger, not just small things. And I called my guide over there and I said, look, this is what I'd like to do. I need your help, obviously, and you have to tell me how much it's going to cost me for your time. And he said, Andrea, no more business between us. You stay at home with us. I'll help you and we'll do it. Okay. And here we are 13, 14 years later doing this. And we've helped up to 8 schools at a time. And then, I raise whatever funds I can raise through charity dinners, selling prints. So it's fantastic, and obviously I'm photographing everything. One of the first awards I've received was a portrait of a child done over there, and that's where I started doing photo competitions with my personal work, not with sailing, because it was my work. I love sailing; it's my passion, and I really enjoy it. But when you're there, it's different. You have to listen to your heart in the end, follow it.
Okay. So as I say, thank you very much for coming from so far away.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We know that sangria.
Yeah.
But you were asking for something more.
Jamon. Here we have. Fantastic. I think he's very hungry.
This is my lunch.
Thank you very much.
So,
Cheers. Thank you.
No, to you.